How would you compose a theme for a Dragoon in Final Fantasy? The class is defined by the jump ability and the usage of lances. They are superior aerial fighters. When you think of Kain, Highwind or Sid, you likely imagine strong brass sound or the nimbleness of Woodwinds. You expect music that makes you look up to the sky. But Freya Crescent is different. Her eyes are not fixed on the sky, they are fixed on the ruins of her home. She is a dragon knight who has been grounded by tragedy. Nobuo Uematsu didn't write her a soaring anthem. He wrote a piece grounded in a relentless, rhythmic downpour. He had to score a character defined by the Japanese keyword Zetsubou, despair in English, a word that literally means to sever hope. I'm Emiliano Giaquinta, and this is a deep dive on the despair of Freya from Final Fantasy IX. Let's take a look. Let's start with the prompt Uematsu had to compose her theme. Freya's keyword is despair, which means the complete loss or absence of hope. But the Japanese Zetsubou is particularly harsh. It combines the characters used for sever and hope. It is the state of having your hope cut off. Freya returns to Burmecia after being in the search for her love, Sir Flatley. She finds her home, her kingdom, completely destroyed. Afterwards, she reunites with her lost love, Sir Flatley, in Clara, only to discover he has amnesia and has forgotten her entirely. Her story is a cycle of loss. Even though her hope has been severed, she still stands strong with the party and moves on. Her music needs to reflect not just sadness, but a dignity that endures despite that sadness. So here we are at my Dorico project of the theme. Let's take a look first at the introduction. Let's hear it. Cool. The first thing you notice is the texture. It's a harpsichord. This is a brilliant choice because the harpsichord has a sharp plucked attack with very little sustain. Now, it sounds like droplets hitting stones. If you remember Burmecia, the city, it's the kingdom of the eternal rain. And Freya is a dragoon of this kingdom, so it's very fitting this kind of raining downpour feeling that the texture creates. I have notated the harpsichord in 3 different instruments, but basically they play 5 independent rhythmic lines. The rhythm is all in this piece. The notation I made is in 6/8 time signature, which counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But honestly, that's an oversimplification. If we listen to the first of these lines, so the first line is playing on the strong beats of 6/8, which are the first and the fourth beat. And the second line is playing on the and 2 and 5 beats. If we listen to the next two, the third line plays on the 1 plus the 3 plus the 5 beat. The fourth line plays on the second, fourth, and sixth beats. Lastly, we have one more line joining, which is playing on the 1, 3, and 5. Now, feels like a web spider trap. Some of these lines have a 4/4 feeling, while others, the 6/8, I notated them on. This creates a 4/6 cross rhythm or polyrhythm, while some lines are dancing on 3s, some others are pushing against it in 2s. So, again. This creates a constant subtle friction. The music can never quite settle into a comfortable groove. It feels restless, like water that refuses to sit still. This is the sound of Freya's internal turmoil. Polyrhythms are when two or more different rhythmic patterns are played at the same time, creating a layered rhythmic effect. They are very common in African music traditions, but also in jazz, progressive rock, classical music, and modern electronic music. Normally it's described as a ratio, as 3:2, where 3 evenly spaced notes play against the same time against 2, or 4:3, 5:4, and so on. In some contexts, it's even called hemiola, normally when it's just a section, smaller section of music in which we have this effect. So going back, harmonic-wise, it plays a D minor triad. The bouncing sound, this one, specifically are the root and the fifth of this D minor triad, while the hammer down on the high pitch is also D, reinforcing both chord and the 6/8 feeling. So if we add the hammer down here. Now let's move into the melody. Over the restless rain, we finally get the melody. It's carried by a lonely clarinet. Now, this melody sequence is dignified. It doesn't wail or scream, it weeps quietly. It stays within a contained range, reflecting Freya's composure. She's a knight after all. She maintains her dignity even in her grief. The melody repeats again on the repetition of the section A, but this time it will move into a flute. The flute provides a sense of unbreakable cycle, showing that her search still continues. And then we have again the next section, which is another repetition, but this time we have an orchestration increase. First, the flute will move into a bassoon. By passing the melody to the lower woodwinds, Uematsu adds weight and weariness to the character. She's tired, but she keeps walking. Here the orchestration is then supported finally by the strings, which they play staccato, like hits, adding some tension. Let's hear that. So we can observe structurally we have the section A that is repeated 2 times, and on each repetition the theme grows very slowly, but it grows. It's like a long walk in which the character has an ever increasing burden, which is basically the story of Freya. She's always on the search for her love, and even when she feels that she's finally gonna meet him, it fails or it changes drastically because we know the plot twist that he doesn't remember her. And then we enter section B. So section B, it's a complete twist compared with the other 3 repetitions of section A, right? The orchestration expands. An oboe and a clarinet double on the melody, an octave apart. A piano enters a bit before the start of the section B, adding some sustained notes. which is a great usage of the piano as an instrument. Orchestrally, normally we get the piano to cover also the very low notes or the very high notes of the composition, which is very different of the usage of a solo piano, for example. But the most important thing here is the harmony. The piece modulates to F major, which is the relative major of D minor, and we can hear a very strong progression: F, B flat major, 9, C6, and C. This sounds like hope. The C major chord is the dominant, and it wants to resolve triumphantly back to F major. It feels like the sun is about to break through the clouds of Burmecia. This is the moment that Freya finds Fratli. This is the moment she thinks her search is over. And then Uematsu snatches it away. Instead of resolving to F, the music falls into a deceptive cadence. It lands on A minor. It gives this darker resolution, an unexpected resolution. From A minor, we continue to C minor, so the dark twist continues, but then suddenly we have a ride of hope. We arrive to a G chord. Can you hear what else is joining the orchestration? A choir. Let's listen to the choir on isolation. Nice. Altogether, it really showcases that there's a ray of hope, that Freya is finally gonna be in peace with herself and her destiny. But then the G chord goes into G minor chord. And musically, the ray of light vanishes. The hope is sever, Zetsubou. The music denies us the happy ending we wanted, just as the story denies Freya her reunion. From there, the harmony wanders through and the cycle repeats. By just narrating this, I'm getting emotional, I need to say. It is a very interesting way of portraying a character through dignity, but also despair. Freya's theme works because it refuses to resolve. It is a loop of rain, sorrow, and dignity. The polyrhythms keep us on the edge, and the deceptive cadences break our heart. It isn't a song about winning, it's a song about enduring. It captures the essence of a Dragoon knight who has lost her sky, but refuses to stop fighting on the ground. Personally, I'm fascinated how Uematsu created such a distinctive landscape with the sounds of the orchestra and a pack of harpsichords. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if for you, Freya is the most tragic character on Final Fantasy IX. For the next episode, we will talk about the youngest of the team members, which is Eiko. If you like it, subscribe and see you next time.